Okay, go for it.
Awesome. What inspired you to paint?
Believe it or not, I'm using watercolor painting when I started as therapy because I used to design my daughter's ice dancing dresses, and that's where my creative outlet was, creating the style and sequencing them. Then she grew up and stopped ice dancing, and I didn't have a creative outlet. So I said, well, I'll try drawing and watercoloring and see what happens. And I chose watercoloring because watercolor throws a party of its own. It, depending on how much water you put with the pigment, will determine. Try drawing and watercoloring and see what happens. And I chose watercoloring because watercolor throws a party of its own. It, depending on how much water you put with the pigment, will determine how it moves on the paper. And so I thought, well, this is a medium that I can't control. And I thought that would be very good for relaxing in life and not having to control my environment. So that's why I started painting, so that I didn't control my environment and let watercolor have a party.
On average, how long does it take to make a professional painting?
Actually, it depends on when the creative mode strikes me or mood strikes me. Sometimes you can get out of painting a paper and everything just comes together really easily, like first time brush strokes, and it's just beautiful. And you say, wow, that was in half an hour, 45 minutes. And other times you'll put down the first layer of wash and you have something in your head that you would like as a finished product, and it's just not quite coming together. So you walk away from it, and it might be 2 or 3 days before you get back to it. So there's not really an answer like, oh, I can do a painting in an hour, I can do a painting in half a day. Now, if you have a commission piece and you have to have it done by a certain time, obviously you push yourself to get it done. But usually it doesn't turn out as nicely as if you just let the creative juices happen when they happen. So anywhere from 2 hours to days. I'll tell you what, you get to a stage where you take your painting and you put it up on the mantle over the fireplace and you just kind of look at it and you start thinking of things you can do to tweak it to make it better. So if you're asking from start to finish where it's a finished product framed and on the wall, could be days, weeks, months, because you just keep looking at it.
Okay. What type of art do you mostly like to paint?
Watercolor. Oh, what subject matter?
Yeah.
I started out doing portraits. I moved to landscapes, and now I'm doing more abstract and non-objective work with texture. And when I mean texture, I put on a layer of paint and then take, say, saran wrap, plastic wrap, and put that over the paint and move it all together so it makes squishy lines, let it dry and pull it off. So you have a different type of background than just a plain white piece of paper. I also use something called gel, matte medium. You put that on first, then you put the paint on, then you can do something like put coffee, what it is. Because if you want something that's absolutely photorealistic, take a picture. But as an artist, you want it to come from your heart and let someone else enjoy it emotionally as well.
What makes you come up with your ideas for your paintings?
Well, I have a mom who's an award-winning digital photographer who traveled the world. So I sometimes will look at her photographs and go, oh, that's beautiful, because of the way that she used light. That was her brushstroke, was the way she was creative with light. So sometimes I'll take her picture and do my interpretation of it. Other times I'll go on location, and you can, like down at the ocean, you can feel the ocean breeze and smell the environment, you know, the seaweed or what have you. And so you set up your easel and you paint in the environment. And that's called en plein air. So that's an inspiration, just being out in nature. The other things that inspire me are children, when you see them with their joyful faces. So, out and about subjects or photographs.
What materials do do you use to paint?
Have watercolor paper, usually 140 pound. Have different size brushes. Have rounds that are range in sizes from 2 to 16 usually. I have flat brushes that range from maybe a 1/4 inch to 3 inch. Then we use toothbrushes to put paint on and spray on the paper. Obviously use water, but then there's other things that we can use, such as the coffee, plaster of Paris, anything actually you can use, but I guess mainly the paints, paint brushes, water, and the paper are the basics.
Okay. What age did you start to paint?
In 2001. So I was an older adult when I started painting. Because before that, as I mentioned, I was sewing and designing skating dresses. So I don't have a formal art education. I'm self-taught.
What advice would you give to an aspiring artist?
To draw every day. Have a sketchbook with you, and it doesn't matter, you don't have to finish it, but draw people, draw inanimate objects, environments, all the time. It will hone your skills, it will make you more comfortable, and then you'll be able to create comfortably large paintings. But sketching every day is if you talk to any artist, they will say that one of the things that they're remiss in doing is sketching every day. But if you can do that, it really is helpful.
How do you feel when you are painting?
Joyful. Takes me out of the regular world and puts you in a whole nother place where you're just enjoying creating something other than having to listen to news, drive the car, make decisions. You just escape. It's kind of like going on vacation, actually. It's really nice.